For 4 years, the most successful pop group in the world vanished from the stage. BTS traded sold-out stadium tours for the reality of mandatory military service in South Korea. When their discharge dates finally aligned, the global anticipation for their return was deafening. The group announced their comeback album would be titled ARIRANG. ARIRANG is a 130-year-old traditional Korean folk song, a piece of cultural heritage representing themes of deep longing, separation, and resilient endurance. By invoking this specific piece of history, the band signaled a deeply introspective return. Fans prepared for a mature, culturally rooted work that would reflect the isolation of their 4-year hiatus and their pride in their South Korean origins. Grounding their return in their country's most revered folk song set a specific expectation. The audience was primed for an authentic, culturally profound piece of music. Then they released the lead single, SWIM. It is a 2.5-minute, entirely English-language pop track. There is no bridge, no traditional climax, and zero complex K-pop choreography. The visual presentation was equally jarring. The 7 members of BTS are largely sidelined in their own music video. Instead, the camera focuses on American actress Lili Reinhart as the central protagonist. The reaction was immediate. Across online forums and social media, a vocal segment of the fanbase expressed deep alienation, accusing the group of abandoning their roots for a simplistic, heavily commercialized sound. Critics pointed directly at the English lyrics. Lines like, "I make waves with my 2 fins," and "looking like a goody-goody in this bad world" were heavily scrutinized for sounding like juvenile nursery rhymes rather than the poetry expected from a veteran group. What was billed as a culturally grounded, reflective return resulted in the most heavily criticized, divisive pop song of their entire career. But to understand what BTS was actually trying to achieve, you have to look past the standard expectations of pop music. They were attempting something closer to cinematic storytelling. The song relies heavily on a maritime metaphor. The turbulent ocean represents life's chaotic nature, while swimming is the steady, forward movement required to survive. This metaphor dictates the music video structure. Throughout the video, the woman navigates the ship alone, while the 7 band members act as invisible watchers. They maintain the rigging and steer the vessel, protecting her, even though she cannot see them. This dynamic maps directly onto the band's real-life military hiatus. The woman represents their fan base. For 4 years, the members observed their fans online, but physical interaction and visibility were impossible. The physical execution of this concept was grueling. Rather than using a comfortable green screen, the members spent 3 consecutive days filming on a real sailing vessel, fully soaked by a freezing Atlantic storm off the coast of Portugal. When viewed through this lens, SWIM functions as a deliberate, high-effort indie film-style love letter, acknowledging the endurance of their fans during a long separation. Yet, that artistic defense hasn't satisfied the critics. To understand why so many fans feel betrayed, we have to look at the business strategy behind the release. This network map shows the creative credits behind SWIM. While RM is credited, the track is dominated by Western talent, including 10 international songwriters. The song was filtered down from 120 different demos to find the exact global market sound. This creates an uncomfortable contradiction. An English-language, US radio-optimized pop track sits squarely at the center of an album named after Korea's most sacred folk song. Critics view this as a cultural bait-and-switch. The accusation is that the label used a respected Korean identity as marketing packaging to sell a generic Western product to the masses. Regardless of the band's personal artistic intent, the commercial execution, the international writing camps, and the English lyrics signal a calculated, Hollywood-facing strategy. Ultimately, SWIM serves as a transitional artifact. It represents 7 men in their 30s navigating a music industry and a personal reality that shifted while they were away. They are walking an impossible tightrope. They are attempting to honor their deep South Korean origins while sustaining their status as global pop titans. The band anticipated this exact friction. In their studio notes, they acknowledged that any evolution requires leaving something behind, summarizing the expected backlash with the realization that hate is also love. BTS operates outside the traditional rules of K-pop now. The creative choices they make as a global entity will inevitably divide the original base that brought them to the top. So look at the evidence. Is SWIM a mature cinematic metaphor for surviving the turbulent currents of life, or is it a calculated Hollywood sellout? Let me know where you stand in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed this breakdown, and make sure to subscribe to Viral Scope for more pop culture deep dives.